been shown everywhere. Plastic has been found in 60% of all seabeds and in 100% of sea turtles that mistake plastic for food.
An oil spill from an Iranian tanker that sank in the East China Sea is rapidly spreading, alarming environmentalists about the threat to the sea and bird life in the waterway.
1/3 of that, from stroke, lung cancer and heart disease, are all due to air pollution. This is having an equivalent effect to that of smoking tobacco.
Hi, I'm Marissa.
Hi, I'm Anjana, and we're from Labuan International School.
Stay tuned for more environmental news. What is happening to our Earth?
Our Earth is being polluted in the sea, air and even land. In the sea, fishes are dying because of oil spills and plastics.
Isn't it just devastating? The problems of environmental pollution is so acute that it has become a major threat for human beings and animals.
Exactly. What do you think is the consequences if this action continues? Those poor animals not being able to breathe just because the surface of the sea is covered with oil.
But why is oil such a big burden to animals?
Oil is a major burden to animals, and you'll see why.
So what do we have here?
This blue water will represent the ocean, and this feather will represent a marine bird's feather.
So what are we going to do with this?
As you can see, the feather repels the water, which allows the birds to float. So now we're going to pour the oil in the water. This time, why don't you dip the feather in the water?
Whoa, what happened?
When the oil is poured in the water, it is not mixed with the water and it floats on the top because the oil is less dense than water. The last time, the feather repelled and floated, but look at it now. You can see the feather is matte and it's heavier.
Oh, so if mammals with fur and birds with feather get soaked with oil, it will be hard for them to stay warm and birds won't be able to fly.
Exactly! Cat Island was one of the 4 largest bird nesting grounds in Louisiana, but the Deepwater Horizon oil spill killed the mangroves growing there, destroying the root system that held the island's sediment in place. Since 2010, this island has been washing away into the Gulf of Mexico, and the migratory birds find their home disappearing before their eyes. Experiment 2. Smog. So the materials needed are ice, a glass jar, aluminium foil, and paper. What do we have here today?
Well, Anju, do you know what is smog?
Well, Marissa, smog is a mix of natural fog, which are tiny droplets of water in the air, and carbon dioxide from smoke pollution.
Do you know how smog is formed?
No.
That's what we're going to find out next. We are going to demonstrate how smog is formed. First, fill the jar with water and splash it around to make sure all the inner wall of the jar is wet, like the one I have here. Then, light up a piece of paper and quickly put it in the jar. Then, quickly cover it. Put the ice on top of the aluminum foil. Now, watch what will happen next.
Wow! Look! A mist appeared in the jar. How did that happen?
When the lighted paper was put in the jar, it made some of the water moisture inside the jar evaporate into water vapor.
Oh, so the ice made a small amount of water vapor that condenses. It turned into droplets of water in the jar.
This appears as a mist in the jar when warm damp air meets cold air. The cold air that meets the moisture that are held in the air. If there is no wind, fogs form. Wow!
Beijing experienced 12 more blue sky days in 2016 compared to 2005. The city had 198 good days, while the number of severe polluted days is down to 39. A little fun fact is the city of Los Angeles is very smoggy, and so they have oxygen bars where you can buy pure oxygen at $20 and get 20 minutes of plain or fruit scented oxygen.
All we need is 3 plastic bottles, soil, and water. The first bottle will only contain soil. The second bottle will also be containing soil but covered in dead leaves. And grow some plants in the third bottle. Pour water in each of the bottle and see what happens next. Use some other small plastic bottles to catch the water that will be coming out. The water that comes out from the first bottle becomes cloudy because all the dirt and soil from the bottle was washed into the cup. The water actually has the power to take the soil and the dirt out of the water into the cup. The water moves and shapes the soil. The water that comes from the second bottle becomes less cloudy compared to the first bottle because it contains a little bit of soil and particles in the water. This is because it has dead leaves on top and it protects the soil from moving the water. The water that comes out from the third bottle is clean because the soil in the bottle staying together due to the roots from the plants grew into the soil and holding the soil together. So when it rains, the roots keep the soil from washing away. Roots from the plants keep the water from eroding the soil.
The question is, why is the water in the third bottle is cleaner than the rest? To answer the question, we will have to zoom in and take a closer look at what is really going on here. Now, I am going to pull out the plant and let's see what happens. Why is the soil staying together and why is it staying in place? Well, you can see that the roots from the plants grew into the soil like little fingers and are holding the soil together. So when it rains, the roots keep the soil from washing away. The roots of the plant is what keeps the water from eroding the soil, besides holding the soil together and in place. All of the roots are getting nutrients from the soil, but they are also helping the soil out.
We need to plant more trees because it does not only avoid soil erosion, but it also provides oxygen that keeps the earth cool. Plants is also a habitat and a source of food for animals. Isn't it just amazing?
We need 3 bowls filled with water, sodium alginate, and calcium lactate. Firstly, Take 1 bowl of water and mix it with 1 gram of sodium alginate. Use the hand mixer to make sure the ingredients are properly incorporated. Next, set the mixture aside for 15 minutes to make sure there is no air bubbles. Then, add 5 grams of calcium lactate into another bowl that contains 4 cups of water. Mix well.
After that, take a curved spoon and scoop out some of the sodium alginate solution and gently put it into the calcium lactate bath. You can see the water bubble form inside the bath. Then, gently stir the solution for about 3 minutes. After 3 minutes, take a spoon and carefully take out the water bubble and put it into a bath of regular water to stop the reaction.
Sodium alginate, usually derived from seaweed, is a long-chain carbohydrate that is soluble in water. When sodium alginate is dissolved in water, these long-chain carbohydrates float around on their own. They don't connect to each other. A water sphere was formed when sodium alginate reacts with a solution of calcium chloride. As the two solutions come into contact, the alginate and calcium ions combine, creating a gel surface that encapsulates the water. After letting this set for a bit, so the gel surface can properly form, you will have to remove the drop from the calcium chloride solution and you will have a fully formed water sphere, made from nothing but water and the two chemicals.
Edible water bottle can be used in marathons while exercising and lots more. Edible water bottle is one of the smartest and most eco-friendly alternative to plastic that is ever invented. A company named Skipping Rocks Lab has designed a hood that encircles drinking water within an edible membrane made from a natural seaweed extract. In 2019, over 30,000 uhus were handed out to runners at the London Marathon in a bid to reduce plastic waste. The marathon was the largest ever trial of uhu capsules, which are biodegradable pods that can be filled with water or other beverages. You can either consume the pods whole or bite into them to release the liquid.